Chungu cha Jamii. My name is Betty. I am your host today. And this month, as I have been telling you, we have been talking about creating wealth. We decided in March, guys have got to get some money and become rich. And if they're not going to, then they have to start somewhere. So today I'm joined by a gentleman who is a wealth management expert. He will be introducing himself and telling us more about this. And today our focus is going to be on keys to creating wealth. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Edwin Duarte. I am the founder and CEO of Legacy Wealth, where we help clients with financial planning and wealth management. Yeah.
Welcome, Edwin. Good to have you again.
Thank you so much.
So, managing wealth. You know, it's not that people are poor. People actually have something.
True.
People actually have something.
Yeah.
Even those who call themselves the have-nots or the poor, they at least have something.
True.
In our country, not a lot of people die of hunger. People have something. And every time I listen to such kinds of discussions, one thing that comes so clear is that the things they have, they don't know how to manage. And the things they have, they try to acquire more, not looking at what they're receiving. I don't know if that is a problem that you have noticed even as you do your work.
We, as human beings, we have a tendency to think that what we have is not enough to do something or to have impact. So we're always chasing something else that's much greater out there, right? And what I've realized is you always have to start with what you have. If you don't recognize or realize what you have is something that can create or make an impact, even if you get much more from out there, you're not going to do much, right? I remember I was being told that if you don't appreciate what you have, even the little that you have is going to be taken away from you, right? So it doesn't matter how much else you chase out there. You have to start with what you have. Yes.
You must start with what you have.
Yeah.
And people despise what you have. They always think it's little.
True.
And so growing up, people say, when I have this, I will do this. When I have this, I will do that.
Yeah.
How much is enough to do something? Because if you want to buy a car, you really have to have some money. It's not 2 shillings.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a piece of land, it's not 2 shillings either. If you want to get into real estate, it's not 2 shillings again. But these people who do these things, do they just wake up one morning, get a job, and after 2 months salary, they're able to do it? What exactly happens that we have such a gap?
Well, it's just what I know is the fact that these people have decided to first start, like I said, with what they have. They've decided to do something from where they are, right? And all that matters is that you start, right? You start doing, you start doing more with what you have, with the little that you have. And I'll give you an example. I'm sure a lot of people have read these stories about the Wazeas who own majority of downtown, right? And where these guys came from. And the story is told that they walked from their village in Central Province. They walked to Nairobi with nothing, started selling vegetables and all that. And now these guys control close to 30 or 40% of the NSE.
They command the city.
Yes, they drive the economy. Majority of the buildings downtown are theirs, right? Regardless of what their kin have done with that, with the immense wealth that they've been left, these guys started from nothing. They decided to work with what they have, and they grew from there. Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about today.
Yes.
The keys to building and creating that wealth.
Yeah.
You know, wealth is something that you actually create. Because if you just receive it, like the kin you are mentioning, you know, they're just gonna waste it and do nothing with it, forgetting that someone actually made this.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that those who have created and built these high towers we know and see today walked to the city empty-handed.
Yes.
And, you know, walking to the city empty-handed, you don't come to the city and pick 1 million shillings and put up a building.
You don't.
You know?
Yeah.
You start by maybe hawking some groundnuts, selling some boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And when you sell this, and whatever you do, there's that temptation. wow, I now have 10 shillings that I never had.
Yeah.
You mean at the end of the week, I have 1,000 that I didn't have. And so there's a temptation of, I want to do this, I want to do this. I want to buy some nice clothing.
Yeah.
I want to do some nice hair. Where do people get this thing of putting this money aside to do something? Why are people that different?
You see, there's a saying that we've been told since we are young, since we began working. There's a saying that goes that it doesn't matter how much you earn. What matters most is how you spend what you earn, right? And people,
It doesn't matter
how much you earn.
What matters is how you spend it. What you earn.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? So people have this misconception that the more income I have, the more wealth I'll be able to create, right?
And this is a misconception.
It's a misconception. Okay. Well, it's also a half-truth.
Okay.
Because income only does not dictate the kind of wealth that you can create, right? What matters, like I said, is you have to spend less than you earn. It's what is called underconsumption.
You have to spend less.
You have to spend less than you earn, right? And from the less, and from spending less, you create what we call a gap that now forms savings, right?
A gap that forms savings.
Yes.
Before you carry on, the people who work,
yes,
they earn 10,000, you know, but they want to live in a house of 8,000.
yes.
If you look at it, 2,000 is not enough to sustain them until they get the next 10,000.
True.
And so they're going to be borrowing. Or they leave work on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and they are doing a cash business
Yeah.
where every single day they have money. But as they walk home, they have seen that nice thing, and they have paid and paid. And then they find themselves in debt. Or just right there, hello, can you like send me some money?
Yeah.
Or they do this thing of mobile loans.
Yeah.
And they are always in debt. Are there people who actually earn enough to sustain their living? Or enough is never there?
Enough is something. It's possible.
Okay.
Especially if you consider that the only way you grow wealth is by delaying consumption, one, and under-consuming, right?
Okay.
So we said if you earn 10,000, you have to spend less than you earn, right? You always have to spend less. And that spending less does not mean that you have to have, or you live in a house worth 8,000 shillings.
No.
The 2,000 shillings that you said is not enough to cater for the rest of the things, right? So you have to look at your income and be able to say, with this level of income, this is the place that I can stay reasonably, right? These are the things that I can do reasonably and still be left with some savings, be left with some amount of money to do other things, right? So this savings, you know, majority of the people look at savings as money that stays in a bank account.
Okay.
Right? How I'd like people to look at savings is savings forms capital.
Okay.
And capital is what generates extra wealth. Right? Without
So
those savings, yes.
is not just putting 1,000 or 2,000
Yeah.
from your income to take there in the bank and get it at the end of the year
Yeah.
to go for holiday or do something else. That's not savings.
Saving is that and much more, because if you're looking to start, say for example, if you're working and you're looking to start a side hustle, you'll not be able to start it without some form of savings. Regardless of how little it is, you will not be able to enjoy the things of life, maybe like traveling and all that. So savings is capital to do the things that you would like to do, to grow or generate more wealth, right? That side hustle that you want to start, that investment that you want to start, or that investment that you'd like to put money in, is not from money you spend. It comes from the savings, from your underconsumption.
It shouldn't be, you shouldn't be going to the bank to borrow money to start a side hustle. You shouldn't get into debt in order to do a side hustle or travel or do those things. It should come from savings.
The best way to do it is to work from savings.
Okay.
That is the best way. You start with debt, especially if you're looking to start a business. You work with debt, and immediately that business goes down, you're in a lot of trouble. Or if that business does not turn in the profit that you're expecting, you're already in a lot of trouble. Keeping in mind that majority of the business or the startups fail within the first year. Okay. So if you're already starting it with starting that business with debt, the business fails and you're left with debt to pay, with more debt to pay, and you're not generating income from the side hustle that you started. Okay. Also remembering that many businesses will take more than a year to even break even.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So where are you paying that money from if that business is or cannot start paying the debt that you've taken? So with savings, you're safe. The business has enough time for it to grow and to start even breaking or to start breaking even. You're more at peace and you're able to put in the work that is needed if you know you're operating from your savings. Yeah.
So when you talk about the keys of building or creating wealth, what are some of them?
Well, the first and most basic, I think we look at the most complicated things of how to build wealth and all that. We're looking at the best share to put our money in. But we forget the basic building blocks are, or rather the basic building block is making sure that you're spending less than you earn, right? From that
simple.
It's that simple.
Spending less?
Spending less than you earn.
Not going to NSC and those places to check who is trading more.
With what money? If you're not spending less than you're earning, how are you going to go even to NSC to look at the shares to invest in?
So people do these things the wrong way a lot of times. Because everybody that I have met, a lot of people that I've met, when they want to create wealth and become rich, they're going to NSC, they're going to all these big companies and they're checking which one is doing well. I want to put my money here. What's not going on here and here? And the money they want to put there is what they want to go and borrow. Because they probably have some properties, so they want to sell and do this. And that's the wrong way.
That's the wrong way of doing it.
So it's as simple as spending less than what you earn.
Yes.
That everyone can do.
Everyone can do it, right? So, so you've created something we call the gap, and making sure that you're always and consistently growing that gap between your income and your expenditure. So there are 3 ways of doing it.
Okay.
The first one is looking at what expenses to cut, or cutting down on your expenses, right? Looking at the unnecessary stuff that you're spending money on and deciding that I'm no longer going to do this. Instead, I'm going to save this money.
Wow. It
Right?
requires discipline.
It requires a lot of discipline and sacrifice. And that's why I'm saying it requires you to delay consumption. It requires you to under-consume, right? For example, if you're paying for subscriptions you never use. For example, you pay for, there's this Netflix perhaps. You're paying close to 1,000 shillings every month, or whatever amount of money you're paying. And you never use this service.
You're never there.
You're never at home to even watch these movies or these TV programs. So why are you spending money on that? You're wasting, right? The other thing is the pandemic sort of gave us a way to look at or relook at our finances and the things that we are spending money on. I know a lot of people who used to go out and eat out often. But now with the pandemic, they're not able to do that, right? They've realized that they necessarily don't have to go out every single day. If they're going to the office, they can carry food, right? So it's given us sort of an opportunity to reset, to realize the things we can do without, for example, even gym memberships.
Yes.
A lot of people are now running around the neighborhoods, right? Morning jogs,
they have
cycling,
yes.
A lot of things that we've picked up that are helping us to reduce cost, right? So that's the first way. Ensure that you're cutting down on your costs, right? If you think you're living in too much house, perhaps you're paying too much for your house, you can downgrade. And there's a lot of, funny thing, there's a lot of stigma around people who downgrade. Right? So if you're living in a posh neighborhood and you decide to downgrade to a less posh neighborhood, people will start saying, hey, mtu amesota.
Yes. And they don't know your plan.
They don't know your plan, right? So you have to be comfortable to say, I need to cut down this because I am targeting something bigger. Okay? So like I said, the first one is cutting down your expenses.
Okay.
The second one is increasing your income.
Okay.
Right? And the first place always to start is from where you're working or from the business you're currently doing to ensure that you're optimizing your earning potential. For example, for those of us who are, for those people who are employed, what they need to do is, first off, find out whether they are actually earning the most that they can earn for that particular role. Okay? For example, you can be working in an organization, all of you are working, maybe majority of you are working on the same role, but none of you is being paid the same.
Okay.
You're being
Yes,
paid
yes.
different,
Yes.
different salaries. Okay. Perfect example, there are many footballers in the world, good footballers, right? But we have someone like Messi who's paid about £500,000 a week, while there's another one who's paid £10,000 a week. But they're playing the same sport.
Yeah.
What matters is the value that you're bringing to the table, right? And your skills. For example, at work, if you're bringing in more value, if you're able to deliver more than is expected of you, it makes it very easy for you to be able to go back to your employer or to your boss and say, I need a salary increment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or if you sit down with them and they say, you're already earning at your peak, then the next step is, what do I need to do for me to be able to earn more? And they'll be happy to share that with you. The challenge is we tend to sit back and guess what we need to do to earn that extra income. Yet there's someone like from HR who can tell you that, there's your boss who can tell you that, all that information. There's no need to shoot in the dark while you can sit down with someone who can tell you.
And discuss.
Yes, who can tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay?
And a side hustle.
The side hustles, for example, if you're working, I know a lot of people during this pandemic who started side hustles, like, for example, cooking food and delivering to other people, cakes. There's a lady who I know started baking cakes, and now everyone from the office orders cakes from her. She's still working.
Yeah.
Cakes for birthdays, cakes for anniversaries, all those other things. Even the company itself gets cakes from her, right? I know tutors who started coaching kids in their free time. There are a lot of things that you can do.
Yes.
You can monetize your hobbies, you can start those side hustles. Many things that you can do to increase income. So those are two ways that you can do it. The other one is combining the two, which is the fastest and the easiest. If you're always looking for ways to decrease your expenses and always looking and consistently looking to increase your income or the amount of money that you bring in, you're always creating and growing this gap between the two. Right? Yes. This gap, we said, is called savings. Savings now that can be invested, that can be used to start those side hustles and all that. But generally what happens is, whenever we get a salary increment, what do? We upgrade life.
Yeah. We move to a bigger house.
We move to a bigger house.
Buy a better car.
Yes, we stop buying vegetables from. Yes, we stop buying vegetables from Mama Mboga. We're now buying from zucchini. You understand? So we have to be very, very, very keen on that lifestyle creep.
It's actually possible to still consume the same things at a lower cost. Because no one is saying, now you cut fruits from your diet.
No.
Just take fruits, but now check where you buy them.
Yes.
And make sure that they are still good and healthy.
Yeah.
You know? But now, like, I like what you say, that when you get an increment, hey, now we are zucchini guys.
We upgrade. Right? So for example, people, when you first got your salary, maybe you were working within the CBD and You'd walk from one side of town to the other.
To
But
have
now,
lunch.
yes, to have, even just for an errand.
Yes.
But now, because you've gotten a higher salary, what happens is you can't think
He's
from
a rider.
coming. You have to either use a taxi or a boda boda to get you from point A to point B. Yet you used to do it before. The mama mbogas now, you were very healthy before.
Yes.
Nothing happened, but now you've upgraded to something else unnecessarily. I'm not saying that it's bad, but we need to be very careful about that lifestyle creep. And that's why you find that people, you find a lot of people saying, I earn more money, but I don't seem to be making any kind of progress. Because our expenses always rise to match our income.
People don't check those things in detail.
No.
It's true what you say, that when you get an increment, you know, immediately, I don't think it's even intentional.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually intentional. It just happens naturally that, wow, so now my pocket has grown bigger. My wallet is now more huge. I don't walk to where I used to go for lunch.
Yeah.
Now I go to 680 because it's next to me. I go to Hilton. Just out of curiosity and to fit in a certain class.
Yeah.
It's not that the food is, of course, when you talk about the service, it's a little bit different. And you'll pay for the same thing.
Yeah.
You'll pay much more than what you have been paying.
True.
And money is just going into waste. I don't know if that is waste, without us noticing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, though we got a higher pay, we can't point out on what we have done, though we got an increment.
Yeah, we can't. We can't. I used to work for bank.
Yeah.
And every year you'd get
Those
salary.
things are really, they are realities, they are the things that happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every year you'd get a salary increment. And I remember a few guys, or a lot of guys used to, whenever they got a salary increment, because loans were cheap, they would get more debt, right? And if you ask them, you generally, they can't tell you where the money is gone, right? So if you have, say, a loan worth about 500,000, you've gotten an increment that can give you maybe 300,000 shillings more. The next thing after the salary increment is just going to the credit administration department, asking them to give you more money. But at the end of the day, if you look at majority of these people, you will find that they've not done anything constructive with that money.
Okay, so where is this money spent? You know, there's also that notion of if you are working in a formal setup and the only way to keep your job, those long time ago, I had relatives who told me such kinds of things. For you to keep on at your place of work, you have to continue taking loans, because if they want to fire you, they can't fire you until you're done with your loan. So the secret is to constantly take loans.
No, that is a complete lie, because they will fire you, and immediately you leave that bank, your interest rate shoots up to market. Because, so for example, as a banker, you get about 5 or 6%, right? If you lose that job, 13%, 14, 15, whatever the current rate is at, right? Maybe it used to work that way back in the day, but nowadays no one is going to maintain you just because
you have a loan.
No. So if you're not able to pay that loan, they repossess the property that is securing that that loan.
Okay, so the simple thing, reduce your expenditure, delay your consumption. You know, spend less than you earn.
Yeah.
And this is slowly going to give you a lot of savings, which you say is capital.
Yes.
So as you keep this money, where is the right place to keep it? Because people have issues also keeping money in the bank.
Yeah.
Because the bank is also trading with this money and earning from it.
True.
And you are losing as you save. Does it make sense?
Well, it depends. There are savings that you should keep in a bank. Okay. Or somewhere more accessible. Well, I'm not saying under the mattress, but at least somewhere accessible. One, the savings that you can put in a bank could be your emergency fund, right? Your emergency fund could be something some money that you set aside to take or cater for emergencies whenever they come up. Like say, for example, you have a burst tire and you need to buy a new tire for your car. Someone who asked me whether school fees is an emergency. No, school fees is not an emergency. You knew it was coming. Maybe some medical
Sickness,
expenses
yes.
and stuff like that. So that you should keep somewhere that you can easily access. A bank is good.
Yes.
But anything other than that, other than your emergency fund, should be somewhere that is earning much more and can grow higher than the rate of inflation. Okay, so for example, if the rate of inflation is about 6%, you should be looking at something that can give you anything above 6%. Because if you have lower, what happens is you find yourself with less money at the end of maybe 5 years. Right?
True.
Because inflation means that the prices are always going high.
Yes.
Right? And you need your money to grow wealth, you need your money to grow at the same rate or higher
Than what's happening outside.
than what's happening outside.
Yes. So people are curious about saving. And like what I've told you, they say when you save in the bank, you are losing some money.
Yeah.
And you also save, yet you don't have a plan. Because if you have struggled to save 10,000 only at the end of the year, what do you want to do with 10,000? You know, you just want to spend it on Christmas.
Well,
And people now choose like, I'm going to put it in chama. You know, the way women love chamas.
yeah.
So they're going to put their money in chamas every day. So people have different kinds of styles when they think about saving.
Yeah.
They don't put it under the mattress because under the mattress, the idea is to save. Under the mattress, they will easily access it. And when they don't have bread, quickly, they have chomwad it and they have gone to buy.
Yeah.
But when you put it in a chama, and those guys who go to work every day, so they get money, the mambogas get money, and they pass by a certain stall they have given, you know, they're 200.
Yeah.
It's like poison. They have given it out so that they don't eat it. You know, they're so conscious about saving.
Yeah.
Why haven't their lives improved a lot? What is wrong with these kinds of styles of saving?
Well, there are a lot of mama mbogas who've been able to accomplish much more with just that kind of saving.
True.
Right? And you find a lot of ladies in Gikomba who have grown through that same kind of saving, where whatever they earn, at the end of the day, they are going always to deposit something else somewhere.
Yes.
And that's a basic rule of thumb. You always save first before you spend. You spend whatever is left.
Okay.
You save, spend whatever is left.
And a lot of people do the vice versa.
Yeah.
They first spend,
Yes.
and if there's some coins left, they drop in their piggy bank.
Exactly. So the majority of us do, like you said, the reverse, which is we spend and whatever is left, ile kidogo imebaki, that's what we'll put in a bank or in a piggy bank or something like that. But generally, we should be doing like this mama mbogas or these ladies in the informal sector who save fast, and then whatever is left is what they're going to spend and plow back to their business. At the end of the day, I've seen them now going back to these chamas, and if they want to get more stock for their business, that's where they get capital from. You get. Same thing, the old wazes I was talking about.
Yes.
They used to get whatever money from the mboga sales and take it back home. And one of the elders would store the money for them. Whenever they needed to expand their businesses or buy more stock, they would get the money from home and...
Before people became animals.
Yes, right? And then come and expand their businesses, right? So however you can save,
you have to save.
You have to save. At the end of the day, you have to save. The challenge is we've become too consumer-centric in terms of we want more and more stuff. We want more clothes, we want newer phones, we want more cars, a bigger TV screen with more channels that we never watch, right? And what that has done is we are working longer and harder to get more money to buy more stuff, and we become slaves to these particular items we are looking to buy.
And you never have time to enjoy them.
We never have time to enjoy them. What that has led to is a decrease in savings and an increase in debt. Now we have to work even harder to pay back the debt.
How possible is it for business people to trade without loans?
Well, it's, like I said, you have to be comfortable with baby steps. Because sometimes as business people, we want to make big leaps. And that's why we go for debt. Right? You have to be comfortable with baby steps, slowly, slowly plowing back whatever profit you get before you can even go out there and get debt. That I think is the solution. Know that if you want to go far, you have to be comfortable with those small steps.
And avoid debt as much as you can.
Avoid debt unless the business can cover it itself.
These people who are into mobile loans.
Yes.
What's your message? Because the people who started this business, they are also into making money. And people don't realize that these guys want to make money. So they get you to take these loans.
These guys are making so much money.
It's not a good deal.
These guys are making so much money. You know, I looked at an analysis the other day that if you borrow 1,000 shillings, at the end of it all, you end up paying close to 1,800 shillings. The interest rates charged on this particular mobile loans is so high that, but now because they're so convenient, like for example, if you go to pay something via M-Pesa or whatever, and your money is not enough, you get a message telling you, if it's not enough, you can fuliza this amount, right? So it's very convenient. It's not going to the bank and asking them to give me money.
And they want collateral.
Yes, they'll ask for collateral, your pay slip and all that. The cost of that convenience is so high that people don't even realize.
And you pay for it.
Yes, these guys have to secure their money. These guys have to secure their money, and they do that by charging extra interest.
And they don't present this at the point of getting the money.
You won't. You won't get that information.
Oh my God.
But you have to be careful to look and see. So what I normally advise people is, if you have those mobile loan apps, delete them. Delete them. Because you don't, whenever they're there, they always provide, yes, you'll always look at them as an option.
A lot of times.
Right? And everything is going to be something that you can charge against it. It's like having a credit card in your pocket. Right? And debt is very sweet. Debt is very sweet. There's something called the pain of paying. For example, if you're spending someone else's money, you're more likely to spend much more than spending your own money. For example, if you go out and you're with friends and you have a credit card, you're more likely to spend much more than when you're spending your own money, right? If a bank comes and tells you that you can access, say for example, you were budgeting for a car worth 1 million shillings, and the bank comes and tells you that you can actually access 1.5 million. When you go to the dealer and see another car that's worth much more than 1 million shillings that you were targeting, you're more likely to spend more. But if you were getting money from your savings to buy that particular car, you will actually bargain to spend less.
True,
right? So debt is very sweet. You tend to spend much more when you're using someone else's money.
So even the credit card is not a very good advice.
It's not. Just live within your means. That's the advice I give.
And the way it's so easy to just swipe.
It is. Like I said, that convenience
I know.
makes it very attractive, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you end up paying for it.
Edwin, the people who are into investing,
yes,
the people who have come past keeping 200 shillings a day and keeping 1,000 per day,
yeah,
and now they are thinking and looking big, and they're running businesses that they so know for sure this can sustain.
yeah.
What do you think? They want to invest in real estate. They want to invest in, some matatu business or into a school, whatever business. is it okay for them to take a loan? How do they create that?
First, I think we don't do enough research when we're looking to invest. Right? And that's why you find everyone running to the outskirts of Nairobi to buy land, everyone looking to start an M-Pesa shop, or maybe invest in quail eggs and stuff like that. So we generally don't do enough research when you're looking to start this kind of businesses. And
Quail eggs are still in existence.
I don't know whether they're still in existence. But you find that we're attracted to this fad kind of investments. And when we don't do proper research, we end up being frustrated because we don't know what it takes really to run this kind of businesses. Someone will say, I have a little money here saved up, 200,000 shillings. Let me go and buy land in the outskirts of Nairobi, right? You go buy that piece of land. You don't have enough savings with you to cover emergencies whenever they come up, right? So when you have an emergency, you're looking to sell that piece of land. And when you have an emergency, you'll either sell that piece of land at a throwaway price because you're looking to scratch an itch, or you won't get a seller in time. Okay. Someone who's looking maybe to start a school and all that, I just say, speak to people who have done these things before and are successful. They will be able to tell you. And majority of the people, the successful people, are very open to give you information and advise you.
You know, when I hear you, I find that people do a lot of things the wrong way. A lot of things the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you are quickly buying a piece of land without an emergency fund.
Yeah.
When emergency strikes, you are again getting to sell it
True.
at a loss without even thinking.
Yeah.
Insurance. People who, there's insurance thing about investment fund. If I have my 200 or 1,000 monthly, should I put it there in the name of saving and use it, get it after 5 years? I know of those companies that say after 5 years you have it.
Well, in my opinion, and this is what I tell my clients, insurance is not an investment.
Again.
It is not an investment. So always look at insurance as protection. You're protecting your assets or you're protecting your income in case you're not there, your family is taken care of, they'll get a lump sum. That's life insurance. Simply put, it's paying someone else to worry about those unforeseen, yes, those unforeseen circumstances. Whenever you get into an accident, whenever you probably fall ill and stuff like that. But when when people come and tell us that we can invest using life insurance plans, we start now fantasizing, right? We start now fantasizing and thinking that this is the best way for us to grow wealth. And we don't look at the purpose of that particular plan. This is what I say. If you're covered properly, if you've done your research and you've had a discussion and you think that you're properly covered by a particular insurance plan that you've taken, the investment bit comes as a bonus. Comes as a bonus. If you're targeting insurance, look at the coverage first before you can look at anything else. There are better ways to invest your money if you're just looking for an investment. There are money market funds, there are various mutual funds that people can use to invest their money. But now we get confused with the two, right? And we end up taking insurance plans thinking that they're investment vehicles that we can readily access money from whenever we need them. Okay? And I can say even the financial services industry has not done itself a lot of justice because some of these things are not revealed to clients. Okay? So when someone wants their money back, that's when they're told, you know, you have not contributed for a certain amount of time and we can't give you money we
Because
can't
like,
give you money.
for example, if you're doing the education policy,
Yes.
you know, you're always told maybe at 13 years, your policy is ready, it's mature, and now
Yeah.
you need to get the money. And when you talk about 13, this is when your children or your son or daughter is getting into high school where they've got that you may not be able to pay easily.
Yeah.
You know, and so it looks like a very good deal because they've given you like forever, the 13 years or the 10 years to just be keeping money. It really looks like saving,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to worry about school fees when that time comes when you need it. And just, you don't think that's really a nice deal.
Well, if you're taking an education plan, just have that long-term view. Long-term view in terms of make sure that you're taking a plan that you can pay easily. Okay? Make sure that you're looking at that 13 years, not looking at it as if 3-4 years down the line you will get money, because you're not going to get the money that you've saved. You'll get much less.
You get much less.
Yes.
And the value may have really depreciated, such that when you're now looking for school fees at that time, if you're going to, if your maturity amount probably is 500,000, it may not be enough to help you with what you had planned. So I mean, there's a lot of people don't do the research that you were talking about.
True, true. Yeah. And forgetting also the fact that as much as your maturity sum is 500,000, you're much better off than someone who's not started, right? And normally we think that because I'm going to get less money than, or rather the maturity sum is going to be way less than what the school fees is, it's not worth it. No, you're better off than someone who has not started saving for that whatever. There's research actually that was conducted that children of parents who've taken education plans sort of perform better, right? Because these parents are cognizant and very intentional about their kids' education. Right? So it's important to take it, but take it, yes, maybe. But take it for the right reason. Don't take an education plan thinking it's an investment plan. You're saving for your child's education. Don't take a life insurance plan thinking it's an investment plan. It's a protection plan in case someone dies or in case someone is disabled or has critical illness.
That's when cover.
It's cover.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, Edwin, unfortunately we are out of time, yet there's still so much to talk about because I hear that people do, when I hear you, I hear people do the wrong things most of the time, and it's for lack of know-how.
Yeah.
Please give us your parting shots as we come to the end.
I think we have to remember that whenever you're sold to a product, it's not a must for you to take it. It's not a must. If you don't feel comfortable about it, it's not a must. No one's putting a gun to your head and telling you that you have to sign here to take this particular product. The other thing is do proper research. There's so many providers out there. Don't just close yourself out to one provider, or don't just be blinded because your friend is the one who's proposing that particular product to you. Do your own research. At the end of the day, it's your money you've worked so hard for. Make sure you're getting the most out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Things to buy, but first reduce your expenditure, delay your consumption. This is the greatest key to creating wealth. I hope as this month comes to an end, you would have made savings that you'll be proud of. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Betty. I have been your host.